Hey, what's up guys? This is Andrew Mil-Spec with Combat Ar15. Today's video we're going to be talking about how to disassemble, clean, lubricate, and reassemble your AR-15 rifle. Again, this is something I've been getting questions on from prospective students. People are asking me, hey, are you going to show me how to take apart my guns, clean them, and then put them back together? Because they're new gun owners, and I'm not trying to do that during class. However, if you have any questions about it, bring those questions to class. Easiest thing is that you just read the manufacturer's owner's manual and don't put lubrication in the wrong spots. Also, make sure you don't disassemble it beyond the point that it needs to be disassembled. And this video is for all you AR-15 guys, because it's a very common weapon. I'm not going to do mini 14s and stuff that I don't care about, but there's a lot of good videos on YouTube about how to do it, and for my students, you can always refer back to this video if you have any questions. Bring them to class and then just watch this video again. But alright, so first off, make sure there's no ammunition in the room, no ammunition on your body, and that your weapon is clear. Make sure that there is no magazine inserted, and make sure you have an empty chamber. Now, that's very important, because if you don't check the room, check your body, and check your weapon, and then your gun goes off, that's still negligence. Refer back to my firearm safety video. That's not an accident, and you are not so smart where you can't make a mistake. And in fact, if you think you're so smart that you can't make a mistake, you're the dumbest one. So just be safe, check the room, check your body, and check your weapon. Now let's get started. So, weapon's clear. Now, first step is we have these two pins here and here, right? And from this side of the rifle, we're gonna push and push just to get them started, right? And then on this side, I like to do the front one first. Just get your nail underneath there, right? Pull that out all the way. And then same thing on the other side. Pull it out all the way. Now you have upper and lower. I'm gonna go ahead, tilt the camera down. Also, if you have a sling on your rifle, I've already done it, but detach the sling from one of the sides so that they're not tied together. All right, so we got it disassembled. Let me change that a little bit. Y'all don't need to see my legs. All right, there we go. Cool. Now, I'm gonna set the lower to the side, and then I'm gonna take the upper, pull the charging handle back all the way, right? Then the bolt carrier group will slide out, and it'll come free. Next, the charging handle, just pull it back all the way, pop it down, and then it'll come out. I'm gonna set the upper to this side as well. The only things I'm gonna use to clean it would be a AP brush, or you can also use like a toothbrush, right? Just don't brush your teeth with it after. That would be silly. Some simple CLP. I don't use solvents or anything like that. Old cut up t-shirts or rags, and then Q-tips, right? Now, first thing we're gonna clean is going to be, what the fuck is that? Get out of there. That was on the table, not in the gun, I promise. First thing we're gonna take apart is the bolt carrier group. So we have to get the firing pin, retaining pin out, which if you're looking at it like that, it's gonna be right there, right? Take your fingernail, you can pull it out. Otherwise, use like a really small Allen key or some pliers. All right, set that down. Then we gotta drop the firing pin out. Okay. I was recording, but I screwed something up, so I'm re-recording right now. And then we twist the cam pin, right? The cam pin, generally you're gonna have it up front, right? So then you gotta push the bolt face back, and then twist the cam pin so that the rectangle is going a long way. Push that out, and then we can pull the bolt out of the bolt carrier. So that's as far as we're going to break it down. You can break this down a little bit farther, but I'm not worried about it. So I had about 500 rounds to it. Again, I was making this video a little bit ago, but I want to restart it, make it better. So it's not that dirty right now, but basically all I would do from here, make sure my brush isn't filthy nasty, and then liberally apply CLP. And as bro science would say, that means use a lot of it. Don't cry about it while you do it. I'm gonna get inside the front of the bolt carrier. That's usually about the nastiest spot. All right, if you got the AP brush, you can get in there with this finer one too. I don't know if that necessarily helps a lot, but I like to do it. Makes me feel good. Okay, then get in the top right here where the cam pin is riding. Get it from both sides. Get underneath the this tube right here. The gas goes back into it. I don't know what the hell it's called. I forget. Brush underneath there. And then in the back right here too, you want to get in there. The brush is basically there to break up all the carbon. And then you're going to use Q-tips on the inside to pull out the carbon. Right? So you got all that. You hit these areas too, these little holes. You want to make sure those get cleaned out too. But the main priority is up in the front. So inside here, and then also you can get some in here. We'll take a Q-tip to that. But from there, a couple Q-tips, get on the inside. You go through Q-tips like crazy. You're never gonna get it perfectly clean, to me, because I was already shooting this. This is already good enough with the way that the carbon is coming out right now. I'm totally fine with that. I'm not interested in getting my gun spotless. And you put one right there in that gas tube, right? So that's pretty nasty, but it's still it's fine. All right. Get in the back. Now again, something I mentioned in my my Glock cleaning video is that every 5,000 rounds you want to take it into an armorer and have them inspect it. But also make sure you're inspecting it yourself as you're cleaning it. Look for, you know, cracks. Look to make sure everything's still on there tight. Make sure your staking's looking good. All that jazz. How we hit inside right here. Just make sure that this cam pin area is looking good. All right, yeah, that's fine. Now we get in from the back. This part's usually pretty damn nasty. Yeah, still nasty. But we don't need it to be perfect. We just want to pull the majority of the carbon out. And even if you get it spotless, guys, you let it sit for a couple days lubricated, and you'll pull it out and there's gonna be carbon all over it again. I don't use solvents. Reason is that I don't think they're that amazing where it's like a game changer and you need to use it. Again, I've also broken the tritium on my pistol sights using solvents, so I just use regular ass CLP now, and you know, whatever the most basic CLP I can find, that's what I'm using. All right, so I'm good on that. Q-tip on the inside, Q-tip on the cam pin area, Q-tip in the gas tube, get underneath in this little space right here as well. And then get it in from the back from this side, turn it over, and then get it in the back from this side. Still kind of nasty, but that's okay, we'll be fine. Next, most important thing would be the bolt itself, right? A couple things you want to check is if you turn it over and you see, try to get in focus here, you see that there is one smaller lug. That is the extractor, so you want to see that you have good spring tension on it, that it's working properly. You can also take a piece of brass, click it in there, see that it's functioning, and then also the ejector, which is that tiny pin right there. All right, make sure your gas rings are on there nicely, they're not broken off. And you know, as James Yeager says, you know, this is the thing that's most likely to break, so you want to carry a spare, like put that in your pistol grip. So get these lugs with the brush, get the bolt face itself inside this hole that the cam pin will ride in. The cam pin actually rides inside there, just like that, right? So you want to make sure that hole is also cleared out. And then hit it with a Q-tip, hit these lugs with a Q-tip inside the cam pin hole. If you want to run a Q-tip inside, what I like to do is pull up on the Q-tip a little bit, twist it, that makes it a little bit smaller. Not trying to get this thing spotless again, and it is possible to get a Q-tip stuck inside here, especially the wooden ones, okay? You can use a firing pin to pop this pin right here out. Let me see, right there. And then you can pull off the extractor. But again, it's not necessary, you don't have to do it. So just make sure that it's looking pretty good, right? And then firing pin, you can literally just wipe this clean. Only spots where carbon builds up is kind of like right there on the firing pin, on the face of this circle right here. But that's good. All right, cam pin, make sure that the hole right there is nice and clean. That's good. All right, make sure you're wiping everything down with the t-shirts as well. And then the firing pin, retaining pin, wipe that guy down too. Hit it with a brush if you want, but that's the main focus would be getting inside this part of the bolt carrier, hitting it from the back, hitting that cam pin port, and then the bolt itself. All right, now we're gonna put it back together. First, we want to put a little bit of lubricant. You can just basically put a couple drops on the bolt, work it around. I like to put a drop on the inside. You know, it's funny too, like when I was in the Marine Corps, there wasn't like an official way to clean and lubricate your guns. In boot camp, they kind of just like tell you clean this part, now clean this part, and then you fail weapons inspection because you're like, that other part wasn't clean and I was still working on that, but they just move you on anyways. All right, now we have the bolt in there, right? Push it back. Now we're gonna take the cam pin, right? We want the tiny lug of the bolt facing right there. Okay, so for you, it should be the right side. That's where the smaller lug will be, where the extractor is. Okay, and then we take the cam pin, and you see the rectangle is going the long way. You push it in right here. Kind of gotta wiggle it. Here, I'm gonna stand up and make this a little bit easier. Oh my God, you whore. All right, there we go. So you just kind of wiggle it in this place. You push the cam pin down. Now you have to rotate the cam pin. That locks it underneath this gas tube right here, okay? Then pull that guy forward. That way it'll be locked in place. And then we're gonna take the firing pin, okay, drop it in like this. Oh, my bad. Trying to keep everything in frame while I'm doing this. A little bit of a nightmare. So firing pin in and then retaining pin. Firing pin in and then retaining pin. Drop the firing pin in from back here. If you cover it up, it should drop in, or you'll be clumsy and drop it just like I did. Now, the retaining pin, when you put that in, some of them go in easier than others. This is a PSA bolt carrier group, and I can get it in, but that's because I know how. I kind of got to push down on it as I push it in, and then it lines up correctly with the hole on the other side. And then it should be flush inside there, so I can run my finger along and it's not sticking up, and that way I know it's in all the way. Next, test it, pop it in, throw it out, pop it in, throw it out, pop it in, throw it out. Okay, now that's done. Next most important part, we're gonna hit, I suppose we can hit the charging handle just since it's out. We can set that to the side. One thing that's good to do too is as you do this, when one thing's clean, just set it off to the side. That way it's kind of like an assembly line, and you just know, like, okay, that's done, I don't have to worry about it. Charging handle, hit that real quick. Hey, charging handles are a thing that can break, especially if you buy cheap, shitty wish.com charging handles. Get underneath that guy right there too. Okay, wipe it all down. So make sure you have a quality charging handle. I just use Aero Precision standard charging handles, and they work just fine. If you are wanting to put a silencer on your gun, you're gonna want to get a higher quality charging handle that's going to prevent gas from blowing back into your face. Also, they have ambidextrous ones, so you can charge it from this side or this side, and they'll be extended. But honestly, I keep my shit pretty simple. I do like the Raptor charging handle a lot. I just, you know, spend way more money on flashlights than I do charging handles. So, because Surefire's where it's at, motherfucker. All right, now we're gonna hit the upper receiver. We want to get inside the chamber, up in there, right? And then underneath the gas tube, right there, along the rails in the back, and just generally kind of scrub against the walls in there. So I'm gonna hit that. And again, I do not need it perfect. God damn it, this ball fucking sucks. All right, here we go. There is cool, nifty tools they've invented for cleaning the chamber, because it's like impossible to get underneath all those lugs. It's a pain in the ass. So you could invest in one of those if you want. I don't have one, but it would make it easier, especially if you're in the military and they are not letting you go see your family until your rifles are spotless. So it could be a good thing to get. I'll take some Q-tips. It's gonna be disgusting in there. I'm just pulling carbon off. See? I'm gonna sit down and do this. That's disgusting. And Q-tips are cheap, guys, so just like burn it through them. Easiest way to get this done. You can also use the wire brush to get in there. I generally don't. I've got one in there, I just don't really use it. I just hit it with the AP brush nicely. But yeah, they got a brush. It's called the Christmas tree brush. I'll let me show it to you. I think it's in here at least. Oh, my bad. It's in my other kit. All right. But yeah, I just hit it inside here, and then Q-tip it. And this is also because like I'm doing maintenance every 250 to 500 rounds, so it's not that bad. But it would be definitely better to hit it with that Christmas tree brush. And I'm sure if you look it up, or I'll just put a link in the description to what the hell I'm talking about. And okay, I'm good with the chamber there. I'm gonna get underneath that gas tube with the Q-tips. That'll be filthy all the damn time. All right. Get in there on those walls. All right. Hit with the Q-tip. Alright, it's starting to come up gray instead of totally black. And I'm good on that. Now I'll clean this brush off a little bit. Alright. Why the fuck does this thing keep coming back? Get out of here. Alright, now hit the insides. Try to get in along that area that the charging handle will be riding. All right, feeling pretty good about that. Wipe off the excess. So when you wipe off the excess, you're also getting rid of all that carbon that's in there. Now, again, I don't run a bore snake or patches or a damn the metal rods, the cleaning rods through it. Unless I'm losing accuracy. It's good to shoot groups at 50 and 100 yards every now and then just to practice fundamentals, but also check the accuracy of your weapon, check the accuracy of those loads. But yeah, I'm not gonna clean the bore unless I'm losing accuracy, or I know there's obstruction in there, or I'm suspecting that there's rust. So all I do is I just look through this end at a white wall or a light or something, and I just check the bore to make sure it's clear. So I'm gonna do that right now, and it's totally fine. Okay, if you do run patches or snakes through it, do it from this end that way. Do it the way the bullets go. If you're running a snake like this guy right here, you only need to really do it once. It's like running 1,000 patches through it. And if you're using patches, make sure they're the right size. And I've even had those snakes, I've seen them get stuck, and it was like 3 different dudes bought them from the PX, and it was just like a shitty run of them. They're all the correct caliber, but they were all getting stuck, and we had to yank the fuck out of them to get them out the back end of the weapon. So yeah, I don't really clean the bore unless I have to. I was taught that by scout snipers. They basically said, when you're shooting, you're filling the imperfections of the bore with fouling and carbon, which inevitably makes the twist tighter. makes the bore a little bit more perfect. All the rifling, all the things that are you know, screwed up on it when it's brand new, it tightens up the dirtier the bore is. So not saying you shouldn't, I'm saying I don't, and that's information I got from snipers. If you blow up your gun, that's on you, buddy. So don't blow up your gun. Now let's hit the lower real quick and then we'll be done. Just pop out, see there's this pin right here, right? You're gonna push down on that with our finger. That's going to have the buffer and spring come out. It'll get caught against the hammer right there. Just push down on that. You gotta have the hammer down to do this, by the way. Okay. As for the spring, wipe that down, pull this out, wipe that down, and I'm feeling good about that. We're fine there. Also notice that this longer buffer, that's for a rifle, okay? Shorter ones are carbine. Now, again, real simple. I'm not gonna go crazy on this, okay? I wanna get the hammer, right? Now, release the hammer up. They say if you just dry fire and let it hit the thing, it can break it, so I just kind of don't do that anymore. There's these lugs in here, right? You have points of contact here, where the hammer locks up. Right there, so you want to make sure that that area is clean. And if you can look inside here, right, make sure you can see everything. All right, so these are the legs that I'm talking about, right here, and then inside, right here, you'll see lugs too. That's basically what you want to get clean. Okay, scrub them, wipe it down. Okay, now we're gonna lubricate and reassemble. So I like to put a couple drops in there. Just kind of inside, work it around, and make sure that all the moving parts have a little bit of lubrication. We don't need to go crazy on it again, right? I put the spring back in. I do not believe you need to actually lubricate that area. I don't really, at least. Push it in all the way and it'll lock against that detent. Right, lower's reassembled. Now, we've already lubed the inside of the bolt carrier group. We're gonna put a drop here on charging handle, right, and just kind of work it over here. Put another drop or two on top. Okay, and then inside the charging handle as well. Inside, it's going to be riding like that, so I want to make sure that's lubed too. Now, inside the chamber, very important, we get drops in there, and inside where the bolt lugs are going to be getting into it, I like to put a couple drops in there, but the chamber most important to me, just because I've seen it too many times where rounds get stuck inside the chamber and then you have to mortar it, or with a pistol you have to hold the frame and smack the bottom with your hand to clear it, because it is just not going to move. I'll put a couple drops in side, and all right, now we got everything lubed up, right? First thing, the charging handle, if you're looking at it like this, let me make sure we're in frame. I'm going to put it in, all right, drop it down, press it kind of with your thumb, slide it back, and it clicks down, okay? Show you again. Put it in, press it down, slide back, and it'll click in, right? Okay, now, you press it forward a little bit, it's not gonna go up or down on you. Make sure that the bolt face is out like that. You can just flick it. All right, camera shut off. Oh, I noticed it right then and there. So again, take charging out, put it in, press down, clicks in place, slide forward a little bit. Bolt carrier group, make sure the bolt face is out, okay? Then insert it so that this gas tube is inside the charging handle right there. All right? And then we're gonna slide it forward, push it in place. That's good to go. All right, now attach upper and lower. Click the pins in. If it's not moving, it's okay. Just jiggle it a little bit and it'll go right in. Now it's in. Now it's good to go. Okay. Next, functions check. All right, I got the weapon on safe. Hammer's up. Make sure the hammer's up before you go to reassemble it as well. But press on safe, and nothing happens. Make sure you're doing this in the safe direction again. Okay. You can go ahead, check the chamber. Make yourself feel extra safe. Good. All right, now put it on fire. Press and hold the trigger. You hear the hammer fall. And we hold down on the trigger right here. Rack it. And we're gonna slowly release the trigger. And we're gonna feel and hear the reset. Good. Now we can go back on safe. Hey, take note too that if you press the trigger and you go to put it on safe, it won't go on safe unless you got some sort of fancy gun that allows that. Okay, so after rack it, then you can put it back on safe. Now your gun's good to go. Make sure your light is working. Make sure if you got markings like I do that you didn't throw your weapon off zero, right? So I mark where my zero's at. Make sure I didn't screw that up. Check everything to make sure it's still tight on there. Make sure your front sight isn't wiggly. Make sure your gas block isn't wiggly. Make sure your lights are working again. And then put your sling back on and you're good to go. All right, guys. Hey, thank you for watching. I know that's a pretty long video. Talking through it made it a lot longer, but really I don't spend that much time cleaning my guns. Spend far more time actually shooting them, and I only clean it when I feel I really need to. But always make sure that any guns that you're having ready for defensive use, make sure they're clean and lubricated. Again, people say that, you know, this bolt carrier group doesn't need lubrication, or this Palmer. Okay, if it's a Palmer, upper or lower, just stay the fuck away from it. Wait 20 years and then I'm sure they'll be fine. But right now, in 2020, we don't need more problems by buying Palmer AR-15s. Palmer uppers and lowers. But in the future, I'm sure they'll be fine. But they all need lubrication. They all need to be cleaned. They don't need to be overly cleaned. You saw about my standard is like if I'm pulling out Q-tips, you know, looking like that, or even kind of like that, honestly, it's fine. You don't need to go crazy on it. And again, make sure you're keeping the lead away from kids especially, but make sure you wash your hands, make sure you're all clean. All right, guys, hey, thank you so much for watching. Again, combatartraining.com. You can buy the rifle slings. They attached still. Mil-Spec, all USA made components, and hand sewn by me. And then also you can sign up for training classes. Please, you know, share this with your friends. I don't want to go over this stuff during class because you saw how long it can take just me explaining it. And if you got questions though, go ahead and bring them. Remember that training saves lives.